Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Thank you for joining us. If you have a chance, go ahead and hit down below and click on the YouTube channel and get us over 2,000 subscribers. We may already be there, but you could be the one that pushes us a little higher. YouTube is becoming our big avenue here. We got a lot of cool stuff over there. So if you are looking for something, you can listen to the podcast, watch some videos, and do all those type of fun things. Today we are going to talk about what Ariel got for Christmas, which is her 3D printer.
Thank you, husband.
Yes. I did well this year.
Big score.
I did well this year. Something that we have been doing for the last few months is really exploring the 3D printer, not just for fun around the house and learning how to use it, but also trying to start to look at the avenues towards homeschooling and how can we use the 3D printer in our homeschool to print a whole myriad of things, educational, manipulatives, things of that nature. We're going to go through a bunch of those today, but this is really going to be Ariel's podcast.
Well, this is the start of a 3-part series.
3 parts.
I know we're doing the series lately. I kind of like the series. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like episodic TV. We won't leave you on cliffhangers. We promise. But this first one's going to be just about how we could use 3D printers in our homeschool. Yeah. The next one's going to be all about the basics of 3D printers and 3D printing, just to give you a really high level overview, so you know some of the lingo and what we're looking at. And then the last one's going to be all about modeling, so doing your own 3D modeling, because there's
not just you, but also your learner as well.
Exactly. Well, and that's part of what we wanted to talk about today, is that this is about you using it to print things for your homeschool, but also your learner 3D printing for themselves and learning all the skills that go with the modeling and everything and making their own creations, which is really, really cool.
So Ariel, if somebody's out there going, well, can I print this? The answer is
pretty much.
Can I print that?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Like, it's pretty much anything. And there's a hindrance there. There's so much choice.
That's actually, it's funny. My 3D printer is running pretty much round the clock, except when I am just going through podcasting or going through analysis paralysis. What should I print next? I'm not sure, So the first thing is creating hands-on learning tools. So we're talking about your manipulatives and things. Yeah. So just to give you a frame of reference, the 3D printer that Matt got me for Christmas was about $200. That is about the price of a Right Start Math manipulative set. And I did some looking just to see kind of what that looks like. And obviously you have to pay for your filament cost for the printer, but you could basically print everything that comes in the Right Start manipulative set on your 3D printer. Okay. And then at the end of it, you still have a 3D printer. And it would be similar cost. You could probably print all of that with a single roll of filament, which is about $20. So now, yes, you have to take the time. You wouldn't get the cards. Okay, you have to make your own cards. But that's the kind of stuff, right? You want to print an abacus. You could do that. Although, I think you should buy the AL abacus for Right Start. That would be the thing. But, your tangram shapes, your the geo boards. Yep. You can print that kind of stuff. Balance beams. You could print all of those things. I mean, there's files for those.
And even more so, any type of manipulative that you're using, maybe a spelling thing, a math counter.
Totally.
We have this cool kind of codex roller math
really
thing. It's really cool.
You can print. We printed fraction blocks for our daughter, so we're doing different fractions. So you can print things to count. You can buy those big packs of the little bears or whatever to count different colors. You could print your own bears. You can print things. So math manipulatives is a great one, especially when it comes to counting and shapes and geometry stuff. I mean, you can really print quite a bit, which is pretty amazing.
So if you're someone's sitting there going, oh, 3D printer, I've heard about it. I've heard people talk about it. I've read an article on Facebook, people printing houses and stuff like that. But really, what is a 3D printer?
Yeah, so we're just talking about a small. Let's see, my printer is. I'm looking at it now. It's like
You know what it is? It's an old 13-inch CRT television. It's about that box shape.
Well, yeah, it's like a foot, a foot by a foot wide, footprint, and then
2 feet
maybe
tall?
or maybe not even that tall, maybe 18 inches tall.
Yeah.
It's really small. It has a little print bed that's about 8.5 inches
two
wide.
desktop computers
Yeah,
stacked next to each other.
it's not super big. This isn't. 3D printers used to be the kind of thing where you were looking at needing, ventilation, and they printed resin, and you can get, and we'll get into all the specifics of 3D printers next week. But, in basic, we're just talking about, this is a small home printer. It sits right here in our office.
Okay.
It prints a non-toxic plastic. And what it's really doing is it's taking a plastic and melting it. And then it's making something out of that melt that makes a different shape.
And that's how it forms the math manipulatives. Are there other things that you can print as well, like maps and stuff?
Yeah. So I really want to print some topographical maps, but you can print like a city map. Like you could print a city map of London,
So
for example.
if you're doing like the around the world journey and you're focusing on a city, or maybe even some type of section of the city, or a famous thing in the city, the Eiffel Tower in
Sure,
Paris.
you could totally print the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and we've printed some things, and then our kids have then painted those items, and the cost is just it's like $1 here or there. I mean, it can be, depending on the size, of course, it can get more expensive and more timely, but most things I print pretty cheaply, and they're pretty quick. We printed Stonehenge for our kids. We printed all the stones that went in Stonehenge.
And they built it on a cardboard box,
Right,
in the layout of Stonehenge.
If you haven't seen our video on England, you can go check that out. And
if it's
shows,
been released yet, if not, you're getting early knowledge.
Yes, we're not sure when we're recording this, but anyhow. So, point being, you can print things like that. So you can print historical stuff. There was, I could have printed figures of terracotta warriors, for example, that I found, and I didn't get a chance to print them when we were studying China, but that would have been really cool too. And so you can do things like that. So when you're studying history, you could print things for history.
How about biology and things like that? If you're doing cell anatomy or
oh my gosh,
chemistry or anything like that.
Yeah, you want to talk about the parts of a cell.
Yeah.
You could print all of those pieces. I remember when I was a kid, I made them all out of salt dough. You could 3D print them all. You can of course print in colors, but you could print them all in white, and then have your kids paint or marker and label things. You could print the solar system. You could print, if you are studying anatomy, holy moly, there's so much stuff you can print. You can print like the whole model of the skeletal structure of a foot, or a knee joint, or, you can print the different parts of the brain, and it actually, the model will come apart, and you can look at all the different parts of the brain that do different functions.
A lot of times there are kinetic designs. The way the printer can print is they can print inside of something. So
right, so I can print like a hinge, for example.
You can print a working hinge, because it will just print, and what happens is they'll print like connections, but what happens is you snap those by breaking, you essentially break the connections, and all of a sudden the hinge is working and it's correct, and you cannot take it apart. It's designed as a hinge.
Exactly.
There are all these really wild designs. So if you could almost imagine like a human skeleton where it prints like a skeleton, and then you essentially can then bend the arms, but they're not a ball and socket type of thing where they're printed there. Maybe like a hinge joint, but it doesn't come apart.
Yeah.
You just kind of snap it, and then it begins to move freely. The way it prints is beyond the Legoization of things that we normally do, where we're putting things together.
Right.
They can print connectors, and they can print the way things join in 3D, and it's not actually anything to assemble, but it has movable parts where it's actually fluid in a lot of respect. It's very amazing when you see some of these things that people can print. It's incredible.
Yeah, and when it comes to things like science, you have the volcano experiment or whatever. You could print that volcano and then mix your own, internals to get it to erupt and that kind of thing, and paint it. I mean, so you can print things that will help you with experimentation, help you to illustrate a concept. If there's something you're just having a really hard time doing, you're like, I need a manipulative. If you can go out there and buy a model of XYZ thing for your homeschool, there is a good chance that you can print that thing. So think about it in that way. And
the cost of the printing, as you said earlier, is just the filament and the time.
Right.
Really, and that's really.
I mean, obviously there's some power for it, but really it's the filament, and the filament comes in 1 kilogram rolls, so 2.2 pounds, and it's about $20 ish.
So if you're thinking about it at home, if you've ever seen a binder for a trimmer, like where you have the wire going around, it looks very similar to that, where it has this
it's like a spool.
It's like a spool of thin plastic wire. Like, give a ballpark of like print times. Like, what are they expecting here? Like something the size of maybe like somebody's hand. Like something flat that somebody's hand.
Something flat, it could take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah, so it's not quick, but it
right. It's
the machine is very quick. It's actually scary how fast
and
it moves.
It's fairly quiet too, which is pretty amazing. I mean, just the things that you can print. We were talking about doing some science stuff. It's like I can print molecules. Yeah. I can print different. I could print different atom structures that you could take apart and put together. So we're talking about illustrating chemistry concepts or something, and I could print something like that in a matter of a couple of hours. I mean, really, you don't need to tend it. So the fact that it's going to take a couple of hours. Sometimes I'll start a print before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And then it's just, running until it's done. And in the morning I get up and it's like, hey, I have this thing. Yeah. In addition to manipulatives and stuff, you can print functional things for your home. Certainly, I mean, I've printed all kinds of organizational things, but, specifically about homeschool, I think that anything that you can see that there's a manipulative of it or a model of it, you can print it. I can print a full little knight with a suit of armor, or a little samurai, and you can take the armor pieces off and you can look at how it's constructed. I mean, it's amazing.
And the thing is the resolution of the print. If you're thinking, it probably feels like there's all these ribs and everything, and it's not. It's very smooth. You can visually see.
Good.
You can visually see the little lines where it printed, because essentially you're printing in slices. Mm-hmm. But it's super smooth. It's amazing. The resolution of the printing is just mind-boggling. So if you print a sphere, you actually don't feel the edges of each print slice.
Right.
But you can sort of see them. They're super small, but it almost feels smooth. It's really impressive.
It really is. And you can go with a smaller nozzle, which is, right, so you're taking the plastic and you're heating it and then you're extruding it through this nozzle. And the smaller you get, then the less you'd feel those ridge lines. But you can also sand things down. You can prime and paint them if you want it to look really great. So, but we've made just all kinds of things. So I think that possibilities are kind of endless because it's what someone else has designed or what you could design, which I think takes us to our next point.
Which is the creativity, yeah.
Yeah, for you, but also for your kids, right? There's a really great Facebook group called 3D Printing for Homeschool. It's mostly kids and what they are printing.
That's cool.
And they have a variety of different printers. Next week, we'll talk about printer recommendations and stuff, so don't worry about that yet. But this is like the things that they can create in a program, like a free program like Tinkercad, for example. So you get to design and then print your own models. I mean, how much cooler is that? Our daughter is so thrilled. She's like, teach me all the programs, Mom. I want to print my own stuff.
Well, it's so funny because I think for us, the first thing is you go to the community and see what is available that you can just download and print.
Exactly.
But the first thing that our kids thought about was, give me the tools so that I can create the thing I want.
Oh yeah, they were immediately like, how can I make my own thing?
It's so different. Like for us, we're like, okay, let's go to the marketplace and take a look. Most of the prints are free. You just download them.
Yeah, just about all of them are free.
Yeah, and you go, okay, well, print. Okay, then it starts printing. Mm-hmm. But man, it was funny how our daughter was like, can I have the tool to make my own thing? And that was like the first thing she thought about was, I want to be creative and print the thing that I see in my head.
And you can also put your name on things really easily. Yep. So just for reference, if you're looking between this week and next week and you're curious to start doing some research, we have a Bamboo Lab printer. Yeah. We have an A1 Mini and I'm about to get an A1. So those are the types of printers. And on this site, if you have a really good model, people will choose to do what's called boosting it, which is like voting for it. Mm-hmm. And the more votes you get, you end up getting money to spend at the company store to buy, parts or filament or new printers or whatever. So this encourages people to work on really high quality prints. So you don't have to think like, oh man, how am I going to have to print everything from scratch? Or, oh, the models that are free must not be very good quality. There's some amazing free models. Now, there are also models to buy, but there's some amazing free things. So couple that with your kid's own creativity. I mean, adding their name to stuff. Our daughter was like, I want a pencil case and I want my name on it. It's like, okay, great. And so we went in there and I showed her how to add her name. It's really easy to it. And then we printed it out and now her name is etched into this pencil case and she's super excited about it.
Yeah, it gives you that ability to create that open-ended projects as well.
Right. This is working on 3D modeling, and that's the last series piece in the series we're going to talk about, but really it enhances spatial awareness and problem solving. So you're right. They've got these open-ended projects. They're figuring out how to work in 3D space. They're learning computers. There's just a lot of great learning to happen. And I think if you've heard of 3D printers in the past, they tended to be kind of finicky.
Yes, finicky was the great way to do it.
You know,
we borrowed one a couple of years ago from our friend.
It was a horrible experience.
And we couldn't get it to work. Like the board wasn't accepting the print. It was really challenging.
We could never get it perfectly level.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stick.
The glue to hold the print wasn't working.
It was just
weird.
You needed to work so hard just to get like anything out of it. It was really rough. And they have come a long way. You may have seen like Toy Box is another printer brand. Yep. This is so much easier. And that's funny. I tell the story about when you decided to get this for me and you were wondering if this was the right print.
Yeah. So I had seen a video on YouTube talking about the printer I got for her, which is the Bamboo Mini A1 Mini. And it was funny because I saw the video. I said, okay. And then I watched the unboxing, the assembly, and then the straight out of the box printing. I go, okay, this looks pretty good. And the person had, it's funny because behind him, when he was reviewing this, were like a dozen other printers and they're all massive printers. And he's like, this is the easiest printer in the world, out of the box, ease of use, no difficulty, runs immediately. Like, okay. You sold me. The next day I had an event at the Parent Partnership where I was like, it was like a school day. It was like kind of a festival day where they were doing a bunch of activities and stuff. And I was voluntold to be the one, I was doing some event, some activity. And right next to me, this guy had a table and he was showing things for the 3D printing that he does. And it was, helping kids learn how to do 3D work. And right there, right next to me was the exact same printer I got you. And I'm like, so I got to pick his brain on everything. He showed me right from there, from his phone, threw a model right onto the unit from his phone wirelessly, and it started printing immediately. And he had all these things that had been printed, and I was like, okay, that's it, I'm sold. And
yeah,
because it was just impressive to see this very small form factor printer, going to town and printing something and seeing the resolution of the print. I think my impression was always it wasn't that smooth.
Right.
It didn't feel that polished.
It used to look really rough.
Yeah.
You'd look at things and be like, well, that was 3D printed.
Exactly.
At this point, though, I think it looks very different. And you're right. The ability to send it, I have the ability to send right from my phone. It used to be you'd have to like find a model, download it, do some work on it, load it onto a micro SD card, a regular SD card, then stick it into the printer and then try to get that to work, or connect a cable between your printer and your computer. It is way different now. I've got a little touch screen on my printer, or I can send it from my computer. Either way, I can send it wirelessly, and then I can just tap on my screen to say, yep, go ahead and print that file. It's so much easier, and the kids are getting really intrigued about it, which I think is really cool.
And I think that goes into the next thing, which is developing these STEM skills.
Maybe future engineers. Who knows?
Giving them, there's that element too, but also allowing somebody to look into the world, see a desire of some object or solution or some problem, go to the computer, put that problem into some type of 3D world, and then go ahead and print that and test if that solution works. It's something we struggle to be able to give that opportunity to our children. I mean, this technology is voodoo 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is elite technology 20 years ago, 25 years ago. This stuff didn't even exist 30, 40 years ago. CNC pick and place machines, when you're assembling like large electronics boards, have been around for a long time, but having that kind of capability in the home for just fixing little things. Like I think that one of the great examples of this is we've had a lamp in a closet. It was
like part of a 4-pack of lamps.
Yeah, you got the floor light, you got the larger light, and you got a couple like side table lights.
It's a really nice lamp.
And it's been sitting there because the little twist knob disappeared. We don't know where
the little one was 2.
Yeah, I think we blame her. So it's been in there for like 3.5 years now. And we're like, okay, let's just get rid of it. It's just sitting around. We can't fix it.
Right, we can't get the little knob to turn the lamp on.
Arrow goes, wait a minute. We can print a solution. And you went in and you found online somebody had, a generic knob, and it was a little screw, and you printed it.
It printed in 7 minutes,
7 minutes, and she screwed it on, and all of a sudden we got our lamp back, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's like, so you can do solutions in the house. You can do, like you just printed, we got a new bed for the little one, and we printed her a cup holder.
Yeah, it's a bunk bed.
It's a bunk bed. So she's up on the top. So she's got this little thing that hangs off now to hold her water.
Well, it was funny because it was like a 2-hour print, I think, or hour and a half. And when we got the bed home, we got it like used off Facebook Marketplace. So we got it home. We're like, we have to assemble. This isn't a million pieces. I started the print right then. By the time we'd finished putting the bed together, I popped the print off the printer and installed her little cup holder, and then she had it that night. And then I've already printed her some hooks for it and stuff for her desk. And I just printed a headphone holder for our oldest for her desk, so she can have her headphones there to, listen to her Yodo and stuff while she's working. And so, the possibilities are so endless. I printed a really cool bookends. I'm printing bookends for both the girls' rooms. But I printed one that was Han Solo and carbonite for you. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, right?
Printed, what are the flat ones called?
So kit cards.
They're called kit cards, KIT cards.
Right. And it's kind of like a model.
It's like a flat model.
Yeah. Imagine if you've ever bought one of those models in the store that you put together and they come with a frame and all the little pieces are connected with tiny.
Pop them out, right?
Yeah, you got to cut them out or pop them out. And then you assemble this model. That's what this is, except it's all pretty much flat, but it's all one card and you print it. So I printed a TIE fighter. Right now I have a Dune Thopter for you to print.
And I'm looking at it right now.
I printed like a stealth jet. Yeah. There's a few of them. So people have made these whole kit cards.
And they're flat, and then you just essentially press fit them together. Yeah. Like they didn't even need to have glue. They just kind of press fit together.
I spent a couple of days printing water bottle holders. If you're like us and you have kids doing some sports, we have a plethora of water bottles everywhere.
We literally have a dozen water bottles.
There's so many. And so I printed these like horizontal water bottle holders for the pantry so that we can just slide all these bottles in because they were in a drawer. They were rolling around.
We couldn't fit them all.
Yeah, it was like crazy. And so I printed that. I printed hat clips. I've printed backpack hooks. I didn't design any of this stuff. The only thing I've designed so far, and I was very proud of myself, I actually did it in Tinkercad. So I printed a lid holder for all of my Tupperware.
That one was really impressive. Like we have these little deli
cups. It's the deli cups, the 16-ounce deli cups.
Yeah. That we use them to store for meal preps. But we have like an endless supply of the tops.
Yeah,
and they
lids.
You try to put them all together, but they end up like getting knocked over in the back of the pantry or in the cabinet. And you designed this little lid. And I think the best thing that was your early birthday gift. It was your caliper.
Oh yeah.
That was something like a $30 caliper, digital caliper on Amazon. Will go a long ways to be able to measure things if you're using the tools. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit more about that next week.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. So yeah, if you want to encourage your kids with STEM to start thinking about it, maybe try out whether they might want a career in STEM. I think this is a great way to do something at home. And how cool is it to think and dream of something and then make it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's unheard of, So I think especially for our creative kids or the ones that are interested in problem solving, I can't think of a better way to, think to do real world problem solving, right?
Especially if you have we have our friend, their oldest, remember he wanted to do this water energy harvesting water thing because it rains all the time. Here and
he was wanting to do a science project.
He wanted to do a science project where he had a downspout just outside of his bedroom, and he wanted to put a little fan in there or a little turbine that would turn a motor and then essentially recharge his cell phone.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
That was what he wanted to do. So there's water always coming down this thing. He goes, man, I could use that to charge my cell phone. I was like, This is great.
That's a great idea.
And so he was sitting there cobbling stuff together, hacking pieces and whatnot. And I'm thinking inside my head now, man, he would have really benefited from having access to a 3D printer to print the turbine that he needed, to print the adapter pieces that he needed, the axle shafts, the screw pins that would hold it all together, a housing maybe that mounts onto it.
Yeah.
All these things that he could have done. And I think his desire for the project, waned because of the complexity of assembling the prototype.
Well, because
finding the hardware and finding all the pieces.
Things he wanted to buy.
But if he had access to a caliper, Tinkercad, and a 3D printer, he could have printed a lot of the pieces and built what he needed, and then assembled it outside his window, and then maybe run the wires into his bedroom through his window. That was his goal. But I can imagine there's a lot of kids out there who have these ideas, or Maybe you have a kid whose job is to take care of the chickens, right? And the chicken coop doesn't have a very good lock and hinge, and it just keeps breaking. Here they go. They go into the Tinkercad, or they go into the marketplace, and they find, oh, here's a lock and pin set, and I'm going to go ahead and 3D print it. I'm going to install it on my gate, and then all of a sudden now I've solved this problem, or I have this solution. I think it just gives you so many opportunities just in everyday life where the children may have an interest in something that requires some type of creativity. Maybe somebody's getting into sewing or art or whatnot, and they need a stand, or they need a certain holder for something or whatnot. And instead of going out and spending $25, $30, $40 on something, out in the real world, they can just go in and print the thing that they need.
Yeah.
And I think it just gives them that ownership over of what they need or what they want to create. Because a lot of times when people are being creative, they get locked in on that solution, right? And so you end up going out looking for the thing, and you can't find the thing. But you're like, well, it's got to be like this, whatever that thing might be. You have this wonderful ability to be able to create that on your own. It has applications in so many different subjects across so many different applications. We printed a watercolor holder cup for my mom.
Oh yeah, that would hold her paintbrushes.
That has like little nubs on the bottom, so when you work your brush at the bottom, it can agitate and release the paint from the brush. And then it had like this hooked area where you could just place your brush over the top of the water thing. So it was just aesthetically, it was very pleasing, but it was also functional and kind of like going between that form and the function. We watched that the Nike movie the other last night, Air. Yeah. And they had that question. It's like, well, do you want your shoes to be form? They want it to be, what their form looks like, or do you want them to be comfortable and form versus function, right?
Right.
And they're like, well, we're going to do form, or we're going to do function, or whatnot. In this case, you can actually try to merge the two of those and say it's going to do what I needed to do, but also look good or have your...
Well, and it's really fun because you can go through the engineering process of, designing something, printing it, testing it, then refining it. That's exactly what we do at work. We have a series of 3D printers of different types.
You guys do this a lot at your office.
We do it a ton because we're constantly working with new models and new mechanisms and things for our ultrasound devices. And so we are constantly printing. It's like, okay, let's we got this design. All right, let's send it to the printer. Tomorrow we'll have the print done. Then let's evaluate. Let's hold it in our hands, weight it, and look at it. And so there's something really great about seeing that tactile thing.
Yeah, it's one thing to design something on the computer. Like when I used to do my hardware, when I was at the semiconductor company for a long time, I would see the layout. Sometimes the PCB software lets you see a 3D model of what you're building, but you never really get to like hold it and test it. Nowadays, you can just print the thing you want, be able to hold it in your hand and go, yes, this is the form I'm looking for. Yes. This is the structure I'm looking for. Great, let's go ahead and send it out. Like normally I would have to wait weeks and weeks, and maybe those boards would be sent to, the development team in Bangalore or something like that. And then they would have to ship them to me so that I can then see them and wait another week until it finally gets here. And, those type of things that just delays us. But having access to 3D printers like what you guys do allows you guys to make decisions quicker. And that is more and more true in a lot of like companies that create products and hands-on products that they use 3D printers to do this. So if you're thinking about your young one going off into the real world and getting employment, 3D printers are more and more common now, especially in engineering, technical field. And it may be even, where you least expect it. Maybe the cabinet company down the street prints 3-dimensional profiles of what the material looks like or what the door looks like, the design. So they don't have to send it away to get it machined and milled. They can actually 3D print it, and they can see the ribs and edges and the design of that thing. They may have 3D printers in there to print material samples for what their designs are going to look like. And so it's not uncommon that you may see this type of application in kind of environments where maybe you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And there's a huge art component. There's a lot of stuff on the sites and, of course, stuff you can design yourself that is just art. Like beautiful, not necessarily functional things, but beautiful things to hang on the wall or beautiful expressions. So if you have a very artistic child, this could also be a really great thing. And I do know that there's lots of folks too who are making prints and who are selling them. So if you are also hoping to side hustle a little bit while you homeschool, this is something that, a lot of folks are coming to craft fairs or selling on Etsy or whatever because they're able to make something that's very specific. We talked about our kids have Yodos. One of the guys who I printed his file from the 3D print site, he actually has like little Yodo holders that he makes and he sells on Etsy for $28 a piece, right? That have your child's name on them, that hold the Yodo and a couple of cards, right? I mean, anything that you could think of that you could need that you can't necessarily just go out and buy. Like the thing I designed for the lids, I couldn't buy that. So I made it. And how many other people might need the same thing that you need that you haven't been able to buy? So there is a component of that if it's something that you're interested in. I think at this point for the relatively low entry cost and the number of things that you could print, I think you could probably save enough money especially on math manipulatives and a few other types of model manipulatives and things to support science experiments and stuff like that you could probably pay for it.
Yeah, it would justify itself.
Yeah, you could. Maybe not right away, but you could probably pay for it.
I would say over the course of maybe 6 months, if you really wanted to use it for like your around the world journey to add additional, capabilities and whatnot.
If you don't want to buy the human body model and you want to print one,
yeah.
That's $20. There's a bunch of things that you could do. I will say that it gets addicting and I print a lot. And so you do end up spending a lot of money on filament. It's a thing. I buy filament like every week. It's like $20 and that's because you want all the colors, right? It's boring to just do white. You want all the colors. So
we'll talk more about that next week.
We will talk more about cost, but just know that from a cost or return on investment thing, once you get into it, then there's ongoing cost because you're going to enjoy it and you're going to want to print things. But hopefully this intro gives you an idea of, you just get your brain working. And if you want to go out and look at the types of things you might be able to print as you get ready to listen to next week's episode, go out and look at makerworld.com or Thingiverse. We'll put some links.
I'll put them both in the show notes.
You can go look through there. Just type in things you might be interested in. Get an idea of the types of stuff that can be printed. And I think it will be really illuminating. And then you can come back next week and we're going to talk all about the basics. I'll talk all about my printer, the terminology, what you're looking for, what everything means. Because this is a world that can be pretty simple, and it can go to incredibly complex with lots of different types of materials and settings and all kinds of things. So we're going to try to break it down and just keep it real tight and easy for folks who are new and just beginning. But I think this is really the future. This is like the physical future, whereas like the AI stuff is the digital future. I think this is a great technology to have in our home and for our homeschool, and maybe it might be something that'll help you all too.
Yeah, maybe the AI agents will be printing our manipulatives without us knowing
Who
anymore.
knows? Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time.
Happy homeschooling!